Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome to the East-West Show. Jack is my name with the G&E TV. One of the very important shows we are here holding, talking about the 19th Congress of CPC, which is happening in China. We belong to totally different systems. Plus the fact that China is my original land. I was born and brought up from. I hope everything for the best for China, for Chinese. I swear to my allegiance to serve this country, to be loyal to this country. That doesn't mean that I have a problem with China. I do not have. I hope everything from the bottom of my heart, the best to happen to China. Right? And now,
absolutely.
With me in the discussion to share those points, those highlights about the CPC's 19th Congress is my good friend, Ken Hamming. Mr. Ken Hamming is, first in my eye, political commentator. He's a philosophical kind of commentator. He doesn't take it BS, even though he's a strong Republican. So most of the time, I see where he comes from. I see why and how exactly he comes from. And other time I see him as very creative. He's a writer. By the way, yesterday in preparing the homework, I consulted your book of 100 words.
Thank you.
And I consulted the word dream.
Yes.
Because we're talking about Chinese dream.
The Chinese
right?
dream.
Okay.
Right.
I consulted exactly the word dream.
Very, very, dream and create.
And
absolutely.
That's a wonderful book that I still read like a Bible. Thank you very much for doing that. So to give you a welcome to the show, right, let's kick off.
This is always my happiest place on planet Earth, Jack, with you and your viewers.
Very good.
Thank you for letting me be here.
I believe that the 19th Congress of CPC in China, which is happening as we speak,
yes,
has been very well reported, very well written, including, of course, I'm not talking about English media that is written by the Chinese news agency.
Yes, sir.
I'm talking about English media here, self-motivated, right? Talking about that. And there are quite a few. I have some, you have some there.
Right.
So what is your overall take or impression about this conference, please?
Well, a couple of interesting impressions, okay? Number one, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it occurs every 5 years.
It
okay,
does.
every 5 years. And then, you know, the hall that this Congress or whatever you call it meets in is like beyond magnificent. It's huge, okay? And so then also the president's speech was 3 hours or so. And I saw all these pictures going around the room. And there were, when it's that long, there's going to be a bunch of people taking a nap, okay?
No, they need the bathroom.
Yeah, the bathroom. I mean, because it's
they
long.
have sessions. They have sessions in between.
Okay.
They have recess. I mean recess.
Recesses. Okay. Yeah.
They have
I would hope
recess
so.
every now and then, of course. And as cameras, you're not shooting the recesses. You're talking about the whole thing as a piece.
Yeah.
In between, you don't want expect anybody to stay there 3, 5, 4 hours long. No.
Yeah. Well, people kind of used to do that, but also that it's showing a lot. We talked about a lot of the previous Chinese leaders are now 80 to 95 years old. So there was a lot of wisdom of elderly people in there, and quite interesting.
Yeah, good. That's exactly one of the points I want to check with you. How do you read that as a symbol?
Well, actually, you know, like if we have a change in administrations and we don't have as much content, because our parties are so drastically different, they don't have that drastic difference between prior leadership and current leadership. So there it's much smoother with the continuity of philosophy. And like when President Trump is in now, that's a total change in philosophy completely from President Obama.
You're right.
So there's a difference. It's much smoother. So they're showing their support for the current leader. Yeah. And that's good.
Yeah, sure. And I read that sign also positively, very positively. Number one positivity is that the fact that you have this single party government, right? Now you're talking about your previous session, previous Congress, and this Congress they are all kind of interlined,
Well,
right?
yeah,
Interlined in a continuation kind of thing.
there's a lot of
It's not kind of like Party A comes on to go against Party B, the overflips of Party B.
Right, doesn't.
Like what we have here.
There is no Party
right?
B.
The left or right, or
Yeah.
Party A or B. There is no Party B
and
back
yet,
there.
And yet, when we go back 30 years, the tenets of the agenda, political agenda, there have evolved a lot.
Yes.
And the projection is more evolvement, evolution up to like 2050, where they've laid out some real goals for the country to achieve.
Yeah, I like that. And back to the exact point, lots of people say they read that as an indication to the outer world, saying that we want to continue from where we started, something like that.
From where, but they're going to a different level of citizenship participation in successes.
Yeah. The more different they want to show, the more they want to show also that we are not dragging ourselves far away from the foundation. Look at those older guys, right?
Right.
They are here. They are our previous generation. And we're just following the trail, something like that.
But yet that trail is really a positive development for the individual rights of the citizens.
I totally agree. But there might be some disagreement about where it's heading. All right. To explain to that, the images of the older guy would do a lot.
Right. And yes. And correct me if you disagree, but I read everywhere that the current President Xi is probably the hardest liner, the most powerful in like 40 years, that has assumed more power of his individual strength and intentions. I like to see more leadership being involved in the direction of China, because then there's more compromises. It's very hard for a strong person, to compromise with himself if he doesn't have to. So, but that's where it is right now, and this is a big meeting. I'm sure you guys are covering it in China.
Yeah, of course. And
we should have gone.
Right now have two guys back in there in Beijing.
Yeah.
Doing the on-site coverage ourselves.
Yeah, good.
Here we're doing it for our English-speaking audiences.
Yeah.
And here we're taking our unique stand as Chinese Americans.
Yes.
Well, how we like these two countries do their best.
I want to be allies.
Yeah, of course.
Allies.
Exactly, that's right.
Yeah.
And we want to fight for each other. That's it.
Right.
We want to work all together, something like that, right? Okay, now, speaking of that thing, I noticed there's lots of comment talking about the anti-corruption movement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I believe that on your report, my record,
I like this phrase.
Talking about, right?
Yeah, it says, take the fat off the bone, all the way down to the bone.
Take the fat off.
And so, look, America's got a lot of corruption. Okay, well, I want to fight it too.
Yeah.
Okay, I really do.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I might disagree what our corruption is, but we have it plenty. And now China's taking action. I don't know exactly what action, but people are certainly that have had power before have lost their power, and some are in prison for taking advantage of the power. And so that's good.
They are not only taking advantage of power, they are using the power to collect those numbers you will get scared from head to toe.
Right. Good point. Yeah.
So, and you know what? If I were Xi Jinping myself, I would weigh also the left-hand side choices, the right-hand side choices. Okay, now, number one, if I go ahead and go with the anti-corruption thing, when those numbers are going public, honestly, it is very bad. It is very bad. It is very bad to the public. Okay, now, if I keep it without, I'm prevented from going public, and those guys get kind of encouraged, they will go even worse.
Yeah, and the farther you are from Shanghai and Beijing and the main cities too, the more the corruption can easily be continued and enjoyed by those corruptors.
Yes, you're right.
Because there's not as many people looking at them.
Basically,
Yeah.
and even in Beijing, even in Shanghai, even under their own nose, right? The corruptions are so big. So that's why.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
So that's why.
Even under their nose.
So that's why. Oh, remember this time when the older guys portray themselves to the conference? There is one Zhu Rongji,
Okay.
and he was the former premier,
Okay.
all right, of China, and he once
Big job.
said, for the anti-corruption, I have prepared 100 caskets for, all right. The 99 caskets are for them that I take down.
Yeah. Wow.
And the last one for myself.
Wow.
You know what?
Major
It
statement.
needs a lot of courage to do so.
Yeah.
Needs a lot of courage to do so. Xi Jinping doesn't have to say, I want to use the quote, exact quote that the Junji says.
Sure.
All he needs to do is that, come
Bye-bye.
over here,
Yeah.
sit here.
Yeah.
Okay, you, me sitting together, so people will know that I will have the same thing, the same courage,
Right.
same determination. And I see how determined he is, saying that I prepared the last casket, the coffin for myself.
Right. Right. Well, and also what happens when there is corruption, normally it's the people under those with less power than the corruptors that are the main sufferers. The government above them doesn't suffer as much, but it's the lower people that really suffer from corruption.
It is more dangerous.
And those are the ones we love.
Yes, we're right. It is more dangerous when the corruption develops almost like a culture,
Well, that's right.
that everybody corrupts.
That's right.
That is devastating. So she says, either we all die or we fight for the last kick.
Right, right.
Right? That's why Zhu Rongji says, I prepared 100 casket, the last one for myself.
Right.
That's a determination, right?
Yeah.
I hope that's one thing for sure. This Congress for the 19th CPC, which is in Beijing now, has made it firm, so solid that they will continue on the anti-corruption.
Right. They will look for it and try to reduce it.
Very good, very
Right.
good. So let's keep our fingers crossed for them.
And I want us to do the same here.
All right, very good. Oh, by the way, here's an artist. His job is to find out the holes, right?
Yes.
Who did what with the numbers?
Right, right, right. That's right.
Yeah, that's what you do.
I'm good at it.
All right, very good. I probably someday China should invite you to go there.
I'm
Say,
ready.
hey, Ken, well, check my numbers.
I'm packed.
Something like that.
I'm packed.
Okay, let's take a very short moment out. When we come back, we will continue finding what are those highlights of this 19th Congress for CPC in China. With me today is my good friend, Ken Hemming, a wonderful commentator. He and I will share a lot. When things go positive, we are getting more positive. Stay with us, please.
Yes.
Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences. Jack is my name on the East-West Show with the G&E TV. Today, in the subject of the 19th Congress of Chinese CPC, which is happening now, is my good friend Ken Hemming joining me. We're sharing our thoughts, especially his wonderful thoughts, with you, talking about those positivity it has shown so far, right? Welcome back to the show.
Happy to be here.
Good.
Always.
I have little something that bothers me for quite some time. The name of the Chinese governing party is called the CPC.
Yes, sir.
Right? There's a word C there, which is a word we don't like.
Right.
At least I don't like.
Yeah.
However, you look around China, nothing goes with a C. The C star change. The C stands for capitalism instead of communism.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly invading the country.
Yeah.
And is welcome. as long as the capitalism is experienced in a way without corruption. In other words, in a way with creativity, product design, product creation, sales. I'm a person that loves salespeople, okay? In fact, in China right now is working very hard, Jack, on having better methods of selling their products, because they have more products available for sale than we have orders that are coming to China right now. I just read all about that, and that's interesting. So look, I could sell anything. I could sell snow to an Eskimo. I would love to go to China to be a salesperson.
Of course, it is. It could be easily understood by me, by a person like myself, who was born there at that environment, right? Brought up all the way halfway. I came here halfway my life here.
Yes.
So I got my second part of education here.
Yes.
Right? So I'm kind of a international.
You're a hybrid.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm hybrid.
Yeah.
I can go between, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now, I wonder, would them, my native-born American friends, understand the way I do? Because the word original C stands for communism. That's where it came from. And the later C stands for capitalism.
Right.
Of course, officially say they didn't change the name.
Correct.
But you look around, you see nothing but capitalism there in China.
Yes.
So they're okay with it. So my question, of course I'm okay. My question is that okay to you? Does that two definition of the C bother you?
Well, no, it gives me hope, because I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a capitalist. And one thing, like for example in America, I believe we have been massively over-regulated, okay? And President Trump is reducing these regulations, and our economy is exploding.
Oh, by the way, the tax cut vote.
Yeah.
Is a big thing going on.
Right, and we did approve the budget last night, and so now it will proceed to a vote for the tax cut with some obnoxious Republicans that are resisting what should happen.
Well,
but that's the way it is, okay? But in China, I don't think there's the same written regulations, but the government basically has whatever regulation it wants. So I'd like to see less regulations too, and more freedom for individual creativity and progress, which is existing there, than currently exists. And in America, less regulations too. In fact, one of the big areas for regulations here, and this is hope for China, is the environment, okay? And they want America to make ourselves perfect, okay? Well, half the world, China's working on that.
To answer your question, I'm glad that you feel comfortable about the CC, right? The C and the C.
As long, yes.
And I'm comfortable too, and I'm glad that the check would make me feel better, because I thought my native-born American friend will have a hard time understanding. Now that they understand, it's okay. But the thing is that you're talking about government rules, right? Compared to what we have in the United States, China has far, far, far less.
Except they have more power over the people than we do here.
Less. That's why they go with anti-corruption, to check, are you using your power correctly or within bound, within range, right? So, and they have a handcuff ready while they're checking. So, otherwise, well, handcuff you, you go.
Right,
Off you go like that. So, with that kind of rule, they do give those government employees the right, right? But the right is not to be abused.
Right.
Abused. So, in order to check the abuse, there goes the anti-corruption with a handcuff in hand.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
That's probably prior to the show, you and I had a little discussion talking about there's no model on this global earth already for a country with that kind of population.
Correct. And President Xi also, in his speech, said he hopes that China's model for governing will inspire other countries to do the same.
Yeah.
Now, I don't particularly want that to happen, but they have great aspirations.
Yeah, of course.
Of being.
You don't want to let that happen.
Right.
I don't want either.
Yeah.
Because we're here talking about the United States.
But I'd like us to morph closer.
Yeah. If you are in India,
big country too.
yeah, big country too.
These are big.
Probably you think differently. We have to excuse ourselves for our thinking one-sided, because we're here one-sided. If you have an overall universal look around, you will say, who the hell tells me this is the only one work? Right? And there might be some other models that work.
There might, you know, Jack, there can be some other models that work, but there's only one word that I just worship for, which is America, and that is individual liberty and freedom. And right down to the basic citizens, all of us. That's what is, it's hard to succeed without that.
Understand.
Yeah.
Which I basically agree, but on top, my additional take is that your knowledge, my knowledge, is based on the capability of ourselves at knowing things.
Yeah, the opportunity to move forward.
Yeah. And there are things we are unable to notice, or unable to even to understand. Or there are areas we've never been there ourselves, right? So now, let the world be the world. Let the world be the way it is originally. We are a diverse world. We have all kinds of situations, all kinds of systems. And with a population of that big, that size, you and I just
That's a big population.
India has 1.324 billion as of 2016.
Yeah.
All right. China has 1.379 billion as of 2016.
Holy cow.
Now, I last checked, according to the United Nations statistics as of last night, it has 1.4117 in China.
Too many Chinese are kissing each other, Jack. Your population's growing like crazy.
We're talking about to run a country with that kind of population. And yet nobody has provided any
model
for reference. For your reference, Karl Marx failed. Vladimir Lenin failed.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Donald Trump succeeded so far, but he has only 3.23 million.
323 million,
Yeah.
Right. No, it's a lot less.
323 million.
In the vast space of China's huge.
Mr. President Xi Jinping has nothing on hand as references to go by. No. He must go his own way.
And then we deserve to at least mention at that point with the massive space in China, the what is it, the long road or whatever that is their project?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The silk. I mean the Belt and the Road.
Yeah. Right.
Okay,
the Belt,
Yeah. Good.
So they're working on that.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah. I remember what
you and I we discussed about it.
Yes,
right?
we have.
It is an initiative to motivate all the surrounding
areas,
countries
to have opportunities.
The Pacific Rim, Pacific Ocean Rim,
including within its China's
the rim,
yeah,
to all together develop,
right,
and yet with Chinese money,
right,
with Chinese money,
and of course China expects a return on that investment.
So this person representing the CPC of China, President Xi Jinping, must have lots of guts.
Well, because you know China's got a lot of debt and a lot of growing problems too, and so to keep spending and investing in that spreading does take courage.
Lots of courage, lots of courage,
and also belief that it will work.
Look around those areas.
Right.
You have all kinds of trouble. All kinds of trouble.
Yeah, no, you're trying to reinvigorate troubled areas.
Exactly.
Right.
In other words, Mr. Xi Jinping, as president of China now, number one has the vision. Number two has the gut. And then now with all
the power.
And the power, of course.
Right.
Now with the older guys joining him in the party,
probably
his next term will be better, will be even better.
You know, I just love to see all of these Chinese, almost everybody's in a black or blue suit. They all look great, you know.
Okay, very good.
And it's a nice vision.
All right,
I wish I was sitting in the hall.
Yeah, I wish to go myself, but I can't cancel the show though.
Right.
All right, my dear friends, my lovely audiences, with me, Ken Hemming, and I, we're having good time talking about the 19th Congress of CPC of China, which is a big thing the whole world is paying attention to.
Big.
And we have lots of reports. Some are even funny, some are even funnier. Okay, but not bad. They are all not.
But these are real.
There's nothing
serious
bad.
things.
There's nothing bad. Well, we'll take a very short moment out. When we come back, we'll talk about the international cooperation in the terms of anti-corruption.
Okay.
Right. All right. So, and also there's another huge, huge area talking about the defense of the blue sky
Yes, sir.
and the Chinese dream. There's lots of brand new stuff. All right. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello, my lovely friends, my dear audiences. Welcome back, my dear fellow Americans, talking about China, where I came from many years ago. I still take China as my mother country, as my country here in the United States, to whom I pledge my allegiance to be loyal forever. I do, in a position like this, wish to see the best happen to both countries.
Absolutely, because we care about individual citizens.
Very good, very good. So with me today, my good friend Ken Hemming, in the discussion about the 19th Congress of CPC, which is happening in China now. We're having lots of good times, and we know that China has the #1 population, and China has also the longest history.
Really big.
And China has lots of money, and China has lots of problems. China has everything,
That-
positive, negative,
Right.
has everything. Right?
Everything.
So, for somebody who, for a group of people, now they have 7, right, group of people in charge of such a big country is not an easy job.
Not an easy job.
Not an easy job.
Where do you start? That's
You
the
look at the
question.
United States, you
Yeah.
have 100 senators, you have 425 representatives, all right?
Right.
That's 525 altogether, right?
You're good, Jack.
And you're doing on a day-to-day fight, day-to-day argument. You're doing on a day-to-day vote whatsoever.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
now, I'm not saying which system is good or which system is bad. I'm talking about system. As long as it is a system, it has its reason to exist. Once it exists, let them have the chance to survive, to prove themselves.
That's fair.
Okay, now,
That's fair.
one way to prove is anti-corruption.
Yeah, well, see, and the thing, Jack, say if everybody in China or everybody in the world read my book on my personal value system,
Nobody will
there'd be
corrupt.
no corruption. That's
Nobody
the
will
truth.
corrupt.
I
Okay,
can't corrupt
you
because
only
I'm
wish,
stuck
you
in
only
my own
wish
soul.
everybody reads your book.
Right, right.
The fact that you have a Jack Xiao talking like a Ken Hemming
Yeah.
is because your book.
No, that's right. That's right. It
Because
has
I'm
evolved, yes.
Because I'm influenced.
Right,
'Cause
exactly.
I'm shaped that way.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So that's why we wish everybody reads that.
Right.
Oh, by the way, my recommendation to the book, Life Simple, 100 Words to Live By, with Chinese translation, head to toe. You probably want to check. You want to get one. All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because that's what it is, when a person, and part of our corruption in America I'm talking about is, comes from the breakdown of the family and whatever, and people aren't growing up with the value systems that we used to.
You are
so
too
we have
greedy.
to try to get.
You're too greedy as a human, right? The rapaciousness
Okay.
is the weakest point of a human being.
Okay.
So you want to overcome that.
Right, and you don't have to succumb to it.
Yeah. Okay, now, somewhere, somehow, during his speech, lots of people noticed that he says, no matter those corrupted officials where they go, we will capture them and bring them back to face justice.
Yes, and injustice is a very hard word to define.
I have friends in the law enforcement. You know how they read it? He said, yeah, sounds like a call. Sounds like a call for us to join the party with the international policing. Ooh.
Well, there is.
I said, oh, that's not a bad idea.
Interpol is an international policing
yes,
activity.
The Interpol thing,
yeah.
The international policing,
yeah,
it's so, well.
We need it.
We need it.
Yeah.
And the fact is that in the United States, especially in California, due to the weather, right?
Right.
Lots of areas, lots of cities in the areas are kind of the harbor.
Yeah, the harbor that opportunity.
For the bad guys on the run, right? Why don't we join our hands together? And my law enforcement friend says, well, we can partake. We can partake in the Interpol.
Right, absolutely.
Thing, right?
Right.
So, and he calls upon that. So, do you think the United States will somehow work out some treaties, whatever, to China for the exchange?
Well, China and America have so very, very many exchange programs going on. I'm sure policing and enforcement is certainly in that pile. By the way, just give me 10 seconds to say, you mentioned California. We've got over 40 people dead in these fires in Northern California. That the tragedy in California now is huge. And there's so many things to cover on the news that it doesn't even get fully covered. But people are dying and thousands of acres. Anyway, big tragedy in California, so God bless them all.
God bless them all. And also, something to note was that our brave men and women as firefighters and police officers, law enforcement, everybody is doing their best.
Fire is a very difficult enemy.
Putting out their best. So just to suppose, okay, put it this way. If a police officer dies on line of duty,
right,
he gets shot.
Which
boom.
161 did last year.
In the blink of a second, life is gone. Right. Okay. Now, if a firefighter gets burned to death, it goes inching in.
I know.
The death not arrive within a second. The death comes in.
And the pain's incredible.
The pain is incredible.
I've had second and third degree burns on my hand, and it's incredible.
I hate to think about that. I hate to imagine that way.
Right.
But it's reality. If you think about how much danger they encounter,
and with winds, fire moves so fast you can't outrun it. There's no fire truck in the world that'll go faster than the wind. It's distracting. But thank you for letting us honor them.
Yeah, sure. Honor them, please. Honor them, the highest
responders and the citizens.
Everything. Okay, now talking about the international policing, China does need. It looks that way, and that will benefit the United States too, because when those guys kind of like are in a runaway hide place, right? We don't want to provide harbor for them, or like a sanctuary city or sanctuary whatever community, something.
Right. I don't like that. Yeah.
We can go ahead and confiscate the money. Right. It is a dirty money. We can do that. So.
Yeah. Well, for example, one big area, Jack, that both China and America and every country could benefit from is if we work together to provide more security from cyber attacks. I don't want to attack China and get into their systems. I don't want them to come here, get into our systems and weaken us, in the grid and all this stuff. I mean, I wish we could all hug each other and develop a foolproof, to the extent possible, cyber protection that we all share in. So just like I lock my front door of the house, you guys aren't invited to come in. Work together for a security system that protects China and America, Russia and America mutually.
Thank God you mentioned that, because it is really something, especially now, we believe that we need. And if we could put the efforts together, at least we could have prevented like the ID breach of 1.4 million already? More than?
Well, 143 million in Equifax.
Oh, no.
lost, yeah.
143, not 1.4.
Yeah, 143 million.
Yeah. It's 100 times bigger than I said.
It's big.
Yeah.
People know everything about my financial situation through these kind of activities.
Already.
Right.
That's half of the population of the United States.
That's right.
Been breached already.
It's terrible. And what's the problem is in America, corporations, they don't put as much money into cybersecurity because you don't make money off it. And so it's a lost leader, and they're putting more of their resources into making more money, which is fine. But you still you have a responsibility to protect the people receiving your services in a secure way.
Lucky
and we're failing.
Lucky we, that breach only happens in the financial area.
So far.
What if it's so far?
So far.
What if it goes
tomorrow.
to your national defense?
Right. No. Well, that's where all that
or
risk.
National intelligence.
Right.
So, I now believe as a big country, both China and the United States are worried about that.
I'm sure.
And there are talents.
Why not work together?
Why not together?
Right.
Why not work together? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have. Okay, there are some projects or something that cost a lot of money, but this thing, put your existing efforts to one direction. That doesn't cost extra money. Do you think so?
No, it just needs to be done. We have really failed. Not everybody, but these cyber security breakdowns, they shouldn't happen. Now, there's a lot of smart people in this world that have evil intentions. So, and they have lots of time on their hands. So they can keep trying things. If you take a lock and you do every combination possible, eventually that lock's going to open. So that's what they do. They have very bad intentions.
This morning on the news, I wonder if you heard that Pennsylvania or whatever state, there are two guys on the run.
Okay.
And they end up in a breakfast place for for 2 orders of hash browns and a coffee something.
Okay.
And total $7.
Yeah.
For that $7, they fled. Right. And they were chased and later captured somewhere out of a far away.
Wow.
Out of the restaurant for the $7 only. Which was not even worth the gasoline.
Why would they? Right.
What made it worse though, after that, the cops captured them. They found all the computers, devices, and all the tools and everything. The chips, there's over 1 million something of ID breached.
So how dumb were these two guys?
By those two guys.
Yeah, they're so dumb. For $7, I'll give you $7 for your
$7.
breakfast.
They were $7.
Yeah. Wow.
But thank God, thank the restaurant that are so decisive.
No, that's good.
To chase all the way for the $7.
Right.
All right.
You're right.
And as a surprise, discover something this big.
See, this is where there's such a difference between intelligence and technical proficiency and common sense. These guys were smart. They had all their computer stuff and whatever they did with their brains. No common sense. Pay your bill and say thank you and leave. Wow. That's huge. I didn't hear about that.
So, internationally, if we put our brain together, we can prevent things from happening.
Absolutely.
In lots of situations.
And we need the intention to do that.
Yes, exactly.
Not just, let's see what happens. You need intention.
All right. Let's take a short moment now. Today with me, my friend Ken Hemming. We're having a good time talking about the 19th Congress of CPC China. And, we touch on different areas. This one including the cybersecurity for both protections. We recommend that China and the United States join their hands to work ahead
protect each
for
other.
something better, for a better future.
Yeah.
And we also remember that in the speech, a long one.
Very long, yeah.
A long one. Somebody was kind of yawning.
The two-napper.
Like that, right? Okay, anyway, he made some very, very excellent point. And there's one, he says, for the defense of the blue sky.
Right.
Right? And when we come back, we'll talk about the defense for the blue sky, please. Hello, my dear friends, lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show. Jack with Ken. Ken is a beautiful philosopher. He has a beautiful set of mind, handsome face, pretty much like Donald Trump.
Right, absolutely.
Donald Trump of Pasadena, especially when you laugh like that.
That's right.
Look upon. Okay, next time you change your hairdo.
I'll do it all.
All right, good. We are having lots of good time talking about the President Xi Jinping and his speech at the 19th Congress of CPC, which is happening now in Beijing. He mentioned 19 important points that I made a note upon, and
yes, right.
I believe deserve to be talked about.
Right.
One of them is to talk about the protection or defense of the blue sky.
Yeah, that's an environmental issue.
Do you recall that?
Yes, yes, and
so what's your take on that?
well, you know, you see videos or something from Shanghai or Beijing or something. A lot of the Chinese people wearing these masks because the breathing there can be some risk in that because
like apparatus.
Yeah, because the pollution is a problem, and so when they're worried about oxygen in the air that close to their mouth, obviously it builds up difficulty to see all the way to a blue sky. So the blue sky is obliterated. And now how do you do it, okay? China still really has so much industry and production going on, industrialization. And it's hard to do anything that doesn't have some impacts on the atmosphere. But they're not all, negative to where I'm not a climate control guy where I think that, the planet's killing itself. But there are more things we can do. And China, it hasn't been the number one priority because it couldn't be the number one priority. They've had so many other challenges. And also people that now with capitalism, thriving over there, people are making products and sending them to America and wherever else. So, and that takes machinery, and machinery emits stuff. I don't know exactly everything.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, and I appreciate your analysis. Well, the thing is that we used to say, when we say we're talking about the Earthlings.
Yes, sir.
We Earthlings used to say that you guys, the most advanced nations, are supposed to do more for the environmental control. Because we countries are developing countries. We are latecomers.
Right.
We're only catching up. So we get less job to do. This is what we used to say.
Right.
Now it has changed. It has changed. Judging from Xi Jinping in his report, he takes him in.
Yeah, well,
it is his job too to fight for the protection of the blue sky.
Yeah, yeah.
What a take.
Well,
China used to deny it.
Right, it makes sense. I mean, I personally don't want my taxes to go to clear the air up in China. That's your air, clean it up.
Yeah.
And it's our air, clean it up.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Today's your air, and then when next day is somebody's air, it moves around.
Right. Yeah.
You keep on polluting.
Yeah.
There's the day, until there's the day, there's no clean air.
Right.
Altogether.
But it's all from the industrialization, which is normal development of human nature to create products and try to have possessions that make your life more pleasant.
Yeah, I recall back about 30-something years when I first came upon those many years, if you drive from east to west on I-10, even on a clear day, you couldn't see downtown.
Oh, I got out to California way back, and I couldn't see the mountains in the San Gabriel Valley.
It's all fogged up.
It's
all fogged up.
Great progress.
Right now, you see, when you do the same thing, you can see lovely, vivid pictures. You see the buildings, the windows, whatever, right?
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Okay, now it works.
Yeah.
It proves it works. Okay, now, China is seeing it. China is not denying it. And China is doing it.
Right.
Right?
It will take time, a lot of time.
Another word, if you clean your air, the air cleaned goes away.
Right.
And then next day you do the same thing.
Yeah.
You go.
You make progress
like you do
slowly.
batch after batch after batch of air. You make progress in the long run.
And also, though, at the same time, there's more and more industrialization in China, which does cause some pollution. And so it's a battle, you know. So, but if you keep addressing it, you will win the battle.
Just now you mentioned about regulations and rules,
Right.
and the powers, right?
Right.
Now China is making some laws.
Right. Yeah.
That's how much I understand them.
Right.
They're making laws that when you apply to open something, you prove the impact.
Okay.
You prove me with something what we call the impact plan.
Okay.
Right? Like 2 plans. This is your development, this is your impact, and how you deal with your impact plan. Without a plan, there is no industry.
Yeah, without a plan,
So
it's just
they will not
casual
give them
chaos.
license. They will not license them to open.
Right. Right.
So that's a way to stop those abusive industrial development.
What's happened in America a lot, though, that there's so many of these regulations before you can open your new business that you go broke before you get it open.
Yeah.
And so it works
Some make
against
sense.
progress, and some make sense and some are
Some
onerous.
make sense, some don't.
Right.
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 To other aspect, for example, I have a friend of mine who's bought a commercial property
Okay.
and tries to enlarge it by adding up the second floor.
Sure.
And the argument was that you have only limited spaces for parking.
Right.
So with the added stories, you call for extra parking.
Right.
And going checking
And there is
about
none.
it, there is no.
Right, there is none.
Now, what I see as the argument was that now those are not air pollution whatsoever thing. Those what calls is only for how you define a parking. So they go back, check about their book. There was a rules made of 1952,
Okay.
and the parking space should be extra feet wide.
Yeah.
Back then, you're talking about big cars.
Yeah. Now you can make the lines closer.
Yeah, you make it closer.
That's right.
And then every 3, I mean,
Right.
every 2 you squeeze.
Make 3.
You probably make 3,
Yeah.
something like that.
That's true.
With that taken into consideration, the code people,
Yeah.
I call them code people.
That's interesting.
And made it work, something like that.
Right.
Okay, now, those kind of power we want.
Right.
Make things work,
Right.
right?
Get it done.
Yeah. So, if you do it in a way, say, hey, no, there's none. There is none. You kill business, like I say, before they go broke, before they start, right?
Absolutely true.
Back in China, they're following the same copy. They're doing the same thing. They're making rules. You get the job done. You want to make sure that pollution is taken care of. Here is your license permit.
But it takes 50 years just to make progress. It just takes time because it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, you want to slow down. You don't
Right.
want to go fast like Albus.
Right. You don't want to slow down business. You don't want to disrupt business.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah.
So you want to protect yourself, not only yourself, your sons and daughters, your grandsons and daughters, and it goes on and on and on until you're talking about a whole posterity. Right?
Right.
So it's responsible to talk about. And I believe President Xi Jinping made a good call. Among all the calls, all his calls, right, the one gets me most, right, motivated, most motivated,
Okay.
is the defense for a blue sky.
Right. Yeah, and it's been a while coming, but it's now part of the agenda, and highlighted in his speech.
Of course. You're talking about in a country with 1.4 over billion as population,
lot of people.
with the number 1 guy make a call.
It's a lot of people.
You never know how big the influence is.
Right.
Right?
It's a lot of people.
And if he proposed this direction, and there's a big difference if proposed the other direction. So I like the fact that he pushed this way to call for defense of the blue sky.
Yeah.
Now the only thing is that you want to dream a Chinese dream in the blue sky.
Right.
Am I right?
Right.
So, what's your definition of a Chinese dream, though, by the way?
Well, my definition of a Chinese dream is that all of the individual citizens in China, all of the people, see hope to have a better future, a little more prosperity. You don't need to be wealthy, but you want prosperity. So you've got a decent place to live, and sometimes air conditioning and the basic needs and desires of life. That's the dream. Is that the people feel the hope. Right now in America, people are feeling the hope. Our economy is doing really well and feeling the hope. Our wages in America, for 20 years, there was no greater purchasing power for the workers. Now there is, and I want the same for China.
And also, if you wanna
to have a job,
you wanna think further. You're thinking about American dream emphasizes more to the fact of your self-freedom,
yep,
your self-establishment,
right,
your self-value.
Available for all.
Are available for all, some kind of thing. Back in China, you're talking about altogether, they want to do something to mankind.
Well, and mankind starts at home. Mankind starts in China.
All right, good. That's a good philosophy.
Yeah.
That's a good take.
It starts at home.
Mankind starts with yourself.
Right.
If you don't have a dream, mankind do not even have a dream. Am I right?
It won't grow. If it grows from individual sprouts.
Okay, to sum up, what do you hope after China, after you're talking about another 5 years, right? So
right. Well, this 5-year deal with the Congress, it's kind of about transitioning of leadership. But this time, and maybe others too before, there's no transitioning of leadership. It's more
you don't see a trail of transit whatsoever.
Well, in the past, sometimes there's been a new president brought in.
Some kind of itch or whatever.
Right, right. But here it's sort of solidifying the power in President Xi.
In other words,
so
he will continue with his second term.
Yeah.
And he will carry what he comes along with.
Yeah.
And plus, he pick up the previous older guys.
Right.
Right. In other words, he will come back to some of the old times, and which are not too bad to abandon.
Right. Right. Yeah. Right. No.
Okay, yeah, kind of like that.
And I'm also looking forward to our president going to visit him over there.
Oh yeah.
I'm ready for that.
They say that they will do it still within the year.
Yeah.
We're talking about a month and a half.
Yep. It's exciting.
Exciting.
Just get on Air Force One and fly over.
All right, good, very good. If he does that, I'll support him.
Me too. He will do it.
Okay, very good. All right, my dear friends, we're talking about China, and namely the 19th Congress of the CPC, which is happening in Beijing now. With me, joining me in the kind of discussion, my good friend Ken Hamming, a philosopher and educator. He's a book writer and a beautiful author for a wonderful book, and a CPA for life. Oh, he's auditor, matter of fact. Much better than that. Well, to you, thank you for watching, and to my dear friend Ken Hamming, I thank you very much for your analysis, and I especially thank you for your mentioning of our firefighters.
Absolutely, and God bless you and all your viewers.
God bless everyone.
Absolutely.
Thank you.